Today we are going to be playing WWE 2K16. 2K made a pretty bad decision moving to next gen with 2K15 by stripping back a whole bunch of features from the original game. A whole bunch of features from the 2K14 game to make it accommodate to new gen. 2K16 though didn't learn from 2K15's mistakes and does it grow as a game. I thought, screw it, let's recreate the WrestleMania 19 main event, or one of the main events. It was like halfway through the card. Stone Cold Steve Austin, versus The Rock. Of course, this would end up being Stone Cold's last match, but not The Rock's. So already we are seeing one of the new features in this game, which is chain wrestling. Rock with a drop kick, oh shit. I think if they do another grapple, yep. So we're going into the chain wrestling here, and essentially what that is it's like a rock, paper, scissors, right? You choose what move you're going to do, and depending on the rock, paper, scissors, whoever has the winning move in that sequence will do that move. But there are also ways to get out of it as well. So if you do end up backing your opponent into the ropes or the corner, you can force a separation by the referee, and if you are playing a heel, as Austin is doing here, during the separation you can attack your opponent, which is very, very cool. Nice touch. I couldn't get this to work on my monitor there, so I'm going to read this off my phone, but just the eye contact will be weird. WWE 2K16's core wrestling gameplay is smoother and more responsive than ever before, with thousands of new animations, enhancements in chain wrestling, new pin and submission systems, improved AI, dynamic entrances, new working holds, and a revised reversal system to deliver the most fun and authentic WWE experience to date. So of course, every single game has thousands of new animations. So as cool as that is, it's nothing really to shout home about. The enhancements to chain wrestling though are a welcome addition. The faster gameplay is a really welcome addition because 2K15 was just far too slow. And on top of that as well, we have improved AI, which we have seen in our main event in every 2K game or whatever. Whenever we play 2K16, the AI is actually really good. I've always felt like these AI matches in 2K16 are actually a step above some of the other games, even the later games in the series. 2K16 has always been a good one to us in terms of simulation. Dynamic entrances are worth noting as well, so of course this game does introduce the ability to interrupt an entrance. Austin with the pinfall here, but only going to get a 2 count here as Rock kicks out. As I was saying, this game features breakout entrances, so although it is a common feature in the video game now, 2K16 was the first game to introduce the fact that during entrances you can actually break out and you can attack whoever you're facing, but alternatively they can also attack you. And it can also go for after the match as well. So once the match is over and you're celebrating, you can attack the opponent, and likewise. In fact, no, actually, the opponent can't choose to attack you. Although that would be very cool, it's only one way. So if you choose to attack your opponent, you can do so. Austin here with a pile driver, but again, not enough to get the pinfall. I think as well, this game also features reversal stocks. I'm not a big fan of reversal stocks. I turn them off as quick as I possibly can. This game, I feel like it was this game anyway, but it was either this one or the next one that included reversal stocks, which essentially means that based on your stats, you'll have X amount of reversals, and as the match progresses, you'll have that bar will refill, so you'll have access to do, X amount of reversals per match. And then if you are reversing like a major move, like a finisher, it'll probably take 2 of your reversal stocks. So you might have 4 reversal stocks, you reverse a finisher, you'll go down to 2, you reverse another move, blah, blah, blah. And it was interesting, to say the least. Like, I don't hate it, but I don't like it. I like the fact that it allows you to think about reversals more tactically, so you can basically play a little bit of chess with your opponent. And if you can get them in a position where they have to use their reversal and they won't be able to reverse again for a good minute or two. And here is our working hold, by the way. This is a rest hold, so it allows you to get your stamina back while still kind of putting on the effort and the energy onto the other person and build your finisher bar at the same time. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the reversal system, essentially since it stops you from being able to, The Rock with his own working hold here, especially since it stops you from really kind of playing, like, Again, I appreciate the chess, right? That you have to think ahead about how you're going to use your reversals. But I just didn't appreciate the fact that once you run out of reversals, there really isn't much you can do. And I just think from a gameplay perspective, that's not very good. Saying that though, The Rock here with the spine on the pine, the spine buster, he throws that electric elbow drop into the crowd. Sorry, the elbow pad into the crowd, but he hits the most electrifying move in all of sports entertainment as Austin is... Oh, he kicks out at 2, just kicked out at 2. That was the closest of close calls you could possibly get. But genuinely, the crowd are on their feet, and genuinely, every time that we play 2K16, I just feel like every single time we always get some really crazy matches out of it. And, you know, I don't really need to talk about the visuals, but visually, of course, 2K16 is amazing, right? The characters are scanned for the most part. I doubt The Rock will have been, but the vast majority of characters in the game have been scanned, so they are realistic. And the actual ring for the first time is well, not for the first time, of course. In 2K15, they transitioned to a realistic scale environment, so the ring was actually scaled to the correct size, and the environment with that too. Austin with the Stone Cold Stunner. We did see Rock kick out. Oh, Austin kicked out of the people's elbow, and the Rock kicked out of the Stunner. So we're 1 for 1 here, and well, I mean, we could be reaching the end of this match at any second. This game also features a stamina system similar to the previous game, although the stamina system in this game is a little bit more forgiving than 2K15, considering the fact that the gameplay is massively sped up, and they don't want you to be waiting too long before you get back into the action. And I do appreciate that, because I really think it helps the flow of the matches a lot better. I mean, obviously, there's so much to talk about in 2K16, but we're just really talking about the game here, or just while this match is playing out, we're just focused on the general gameplay vibe here. Oh, and The Rock still kicks out. If we talk about just other presentation enhancements as well, obviously this game has a whole new cloth system, better hair physics, realistic broadcast presentation, and for the first time ever, a 3-man commentary team featuring Michael Cole, John Bradshaw Layfield, and Jerry the King Lawler, which, for as good as that was at the time, it's very frustrating now because they have developed a 3-person commentary system, and they still use it now, even though WWE hasn't had a 3-person commentary team in a couple of years now. So Byron Saxton, for example, has been in the WWE 2K games as commentary for the longest time now. I don't know how Austin bumped off of that, by the way. I was like just talking and Austin decided to take a bump. Yeah, as I was saying, Byron Saxton's been on the commentary booth in the 2K games for several years now, even though he hasn't been an active commentator in the games, and that's just because they don't want to update the commentary system that was developed for this game. That Spinebuster was another signature, and to be honest, I was going to say that could be it, but Austin with enough fortitude to kick out here outside of the ring. This is a false count anywhere, so no rules, pinfalls anywhere. I didn't mention that earlier, but I mentioned it now. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to mention about Stone Cold Steve Austin in particular, because of course 2K16's cover star is Stone Cold Steve Austin, and not only is it Stone Cold Steve Austin, and not only is he the cover star, the whole game is focused around Austin and his iconic legacy, to the point where potentially one of the best 2K showcases they've ever made is in this game, and it focuses around Austin's whole career. Wow, literally throwing The Rock out of the ring was enough to get the pinfall there. But thankfully, for the first time in a long time, they actually timed the match with me talking, so I wasn't cut off early, and I didn't have to ramble to the end of the match. Well, with Austin's victory here at WrestleMania 19, we've changed history. Of course, The Rock gets the win here, as wrestlers tend to go out on their back at the end of their career. Since we've very quickly talked about gameplay, let's move on to some of the game modes available in 2K16. They have this really horrible square design for all their menus, and it really bugs me. It is sleek to some extent, but also at the same time, I'm like, it just looks like Windows 8, and I've never really liked Windows 8. That is like the weirdest nitpick ever, but that's just how I feel about these menu systems. So this year we have Exhibition Mode, we have MyCareer, we have 2K Showcase, we have the return of WWE Universe Mode, a whole new creation suite, we have the online mode, and of course the options with My WWE and general game options. In the exhibition modes, they've added in a whole bunch of new gameplay modes, I guess, back into the game. So in 2K15, as mentioned before, to adapt the game to the next generation of PS4, they had to rebuild a whole bunch of the game, and as a result, they had to remove so many features in the game, such as well, multi-person like cage matches, for example, or just variations of tag matches, or the ability to create a diva, create a women's character in the creation suite. Well, the good news is in 2K16, a lot of those matches have been returned. Of course, there are still many missing types of matches. So here we have normal, false count anywhere, Iron Man, submission, blah blah blah. But what is still missing are things like I Quit matches or Inferno matches. And these were in 2K14, but they wouldn't be re-added again for a long time. And in cases like Inferno match, we're still waiting for them to be re-implemented. But things like I Quit still isn't really in the game, and I'm amazed because it's a popular game mode. Like, fair enough, WWE doesn't do it very often. I think they did actually do one quite recently, but saying that, it's just the principle is that these game modes were already in 2K14, they were already given to us, and I hate the idea that they were taken away for the next generation upgrades, and basically we had to restart again with 2K15, and it's only until now, 2K25, 10 years later, that we're almost at the point where I can say, yes, we're finally moving the series forward, and not just playing catch-up. This game does, of course, feature the return of MyCareer. This isn't quite My Rise, I do think that 2K16 has some cutscenes with its career mode this year, but it's nowhere near as in-depth as like a My Rise, and it kind of is like a single-player story, but it's very much more just box ticking, play matches, complete challenges, and then you can earn titles, and it's kind of just another way of unlocking things in the game, but ultimately doesn't really fulfill the purpose that we were wanting it to, which is kind of more of a, we want like a My Rise, like a single player story where you can play, your choices matter, and the storylines are presented to you in a very cutscene heavy way. Before we get into the meat of the game, we're going to talk about WWE Universe mode. There are, again, very little updates to Universe mode in this year. So you'll notice year on year that there is nothing to say about Universe mode, even though it is basically the only mode in the game that keeps you playing after the story modes. It's the only mode that keeps you playing from month to month, at this point anyway. There still just isn't that many updates. In terms of formatting and customization, there's a little bit here and there, but nothing that genuinely fixes, or there's no added scenarios, there's no added rivalry types, there's nothing new every single year in Universe mode. And I theorize the reason for this is because they inherited the mode from Ukes. Universe mode was a big part of 2011, so by the time that 2K14 rolls around, they can't remove Universe mode, but they also don't know how to update it because it's written in code that they don't understand, probably in Japanese as well. So I can understand 2K's position of not wanting to take it out of the game because then you would be left with a giant gaping hole, but at the same time you're kind of stuck in not being able to update it. And again, this is where we go back to 2K25, and I hate to kind of jump so far in the future, but 2K25 finally had a massive revamp of Universe mode where a lot of the back-end code has been rewritten to allow the developers to finally update the game in meaningful ways. But why did it take 10 years to do this? Why did it take so long for 2K to update Universe mode in that way? And that's something we'll never know the answer to. We should never really look a gift horse in the mouth, but regardless, when we're talking about 2K16, there are very minimal updates. Other than, of course, there are new shows on the calendar, they've implemented the new pay-per-views, there is a Money in the Bank system, there is a rivalry system, so, you know, it isn't like they're leaving you high and dry, the whole system is there, and it isn't like it's lacking anything. I think the key thing is, especially for me, with it being one of the key modes of the game, just year on year, very little updates. And of course, that brings us to the 2K Showcase mode. I haven't even apparently played anything of this, so there are two showcases available. There is the Austin 316 and the Hall of Fame Showcase mode. So looking at the Austin 316 Showcase mode, it's going to boot me right into a cutscene, I bet. So yeah, loading into the mode the first time, it'll load into the opening cutscene and transition right into the first match. The first match being the King of the Ring 1996, where Austin 316 was officially born, because that's when Stone Cold said to Jake Roberts, you can sit there and thump your Bible. John Paul 316 said something or other, but Austin 316 said, I just whooped your ass, which is a fantastic line, and of course skyrocketed Austin all the way to the very top, because the next night on Raw, apparently there were just flooded with crowd sides that said Austin 316 when Austin became King of the Ring. With that to say, this is of course the traditional style showcase. Every single match has in-match cutscenes with bonus commentary. You complete objectives and you'll unlock bonus matches, and you'll unlock items to be used in the rest of the game as well. So obviously here, we only have access to the first match right now because this game save doesn't have the showcase mode completed, but you can access the King. If I completed this match with all the objectives filled out, I'll unlock a bonus match, but then I'll also unlock the King of the Ring arena to use in all the other game modes alongside Stone Cold Steve Austin and Jake the Snake Roberts. And I think statistically speaking, I don't have the actual number of matches available to me, but I know that the 2K showcase for Austin is actually one of the longer ones, and I think it's justifiable considering that he's had one hell of a career. The Hall of Fame showcase, again, I've clicked into it, so it's going to play a cutscene and put me right into the match. I actually wasn't aware of this one, so I'm going to kind of ad-lib here, and I'm presuming that this is either a very short 2K showcase based on the people who were going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame that year, and each inductee gets a match put into the 2K showcase. And I have to assume that this was a DLC that was available after release, because I don't remember ever actually playing this, so that could again be something that we need to play on the channel at some point. One thing about the 2K showcase in this year that I really quite like is the special objectives as well. There's a whole bunch of locked ones that I think are just part of playing the 316 chapters, but as you can see, there are... Sorry, I misread that actually. All of these will be unlocked by doing actions in the 2K showcase. The hint will be unlocked as you play into the chapter, so you have to do certain things, and basically depending on what you do within the mode, these can be bonus objectives essentially, different objectives from the main match, and essentially, yeah, if you complete the bonus matches or whatever, you'll unlock these items such as knee braces, t-shirts, Mark Henry, whatever the hell that is. And then, yeah, like WCW guys and Honky Tonk Man, and it's all very, very cool. So it's a pretty in-depth mode, and I really appreciate the extra images, the cinematic replays, the video replays that are in there. You can watch all of the videos, you can watch some behind-the-scenes promo stuff. There's also like replays of the timeline that you're playing through. You can re-watch those videos, and there's bonus images as well. That yeah, this is definitely Austin 316 showcase in 2K16 is one of the best, most involved showcases that you can play. So absolutely no arguments here, one of the best. So I don't really go into depth too much about the creation suite, but I will quickly talk about the fact that there are create superstars, movesets, entrances, championships, blah blah blah. So there is essentially everything that you need. The community creations is unfortunately offline now. I'm sure you can create some amazing stuff in here, but bear in mind again with 2K15 they removed a whole slew of custom unique creation parts that were originally in the game for 2K14 all the way back, you know, all the way back from previous SmackDown games, and they just got rid of them, gutted the whole thing, so we restarted back in 2K15. So the creation suite in 2K16, as I'm sure it is a massive improvement, it is not going to have everything that you would probably want out of the mode, considering that all the unique creation parts are probably still being implemented year on year. Trying to replay this game on PC is really tricky because it just is not built for modern PCs. You know, the PC version is fine, it runs relatively well, but when you're playing the game, it's totally fine, but trying to do anything outside of the game is like impossible. So trying to access OBS or trying to access my browser window with all the information is just impossible. So I'm going to read it off my phone. Don't think I'm being rude. But yes, there are a whole bunch of new people in this year. I'm not going to go through the whole roster. There's a whole bunch of people that were in 2K15 that have made it through to this year, and with their character changes, but honestly this game has the largest roster to date, and I don't want to bog down the video by just going through every single person on the list, because by the time I reach 2K25 it's going to be like the whole video is just going through the roster. So we're just going to look at the new people here, and there's some really interesting new people. So we'll start off alphabetically. We have the debut of Aiden English. Of course now you know him as I can't remember his name, but he is the TNA ring announcer, our color commentary for TNA, and he does a fantastic job there as well. We have Alicia Fox, who is not listed here because actually I don't know how to pick women, I'll be honest. I would have thought Alicia Fox would be there, but I guess not. Why are there no women? Oh, of course. So there are different tabs for different characters. So you've got superstars, downloaded superstars, and divas. So the the main superstars. Okay, we'll go for alphabetically and we'll double back to the women. So we've got Aiden English, who is one half of the Vaudevillains at this point. Baron Corbin from NXT makes his debut in this game as well. I'd have to imagine this would be roughly around about the time that he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Billy Gunn makes an unexpected return in this game. I'm not sure if he's part of the showcase mode, but it seems like an odd inclusion to have here, considering he would have been in some of the previous games, just not maybe in 2K15. Bret Hart is listed as a returning star. He obviously must have missed 2K15, but he was in 2K14, I'm pretty sure, because of the 30 years of WrestleMania. Bret Hart is a big part of Austin's career, so it's great that he's in here because he's a big part of the 2K showcase. We have Flying Brian Pillman, also another part of Austin's history in the 2K showcase. The British Bulldog returns. I'm assuming he's probably a part of the 2K showcase because of the Hart Foundation, but he may just be a returning superstar. Cactus Jack is returning this year as well. He's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. Colin Cassidy, not Big Cass, Colin Cassidy has debuted here, of course, from NXT at the time. D'Lo Brown from the Nation of Domination makes his return here. Interestingly, not the D'Lo Brown with the body protection that I would have. That's the one that is instantly recognizable for me, but D'Lo, great inclusion this year. Maybe again part of 2K Showcase, but I don't have the match listing to prove that. Yes, we're getting the 3 faces of Foley because Do Love is here. And he's loving it up in 2K16. I don't have much to say about Enzo, and I really don't want to. I actually quite like Enzo, but can't remember his catchphrase here. Bada bing, how you doing? There we are, got there in the end. Farouk from the Nation of Domination makes his return. Of course, there must be some Nation of Domination representation in this game, perhaps from the 2K Showcase would be odd though, because I don't remember Austin having much interaction with the Nation of Domination, but they were around at the same time, so maybe. Finn Balor making his debut here in 2K16, of course. He was one of my most played characters at this time. Very much NXT champion, and even better, we get the Demon Finn Balor in this game as well. Haku is so cool, man. He makes it into so many random games. I don't think he's in... If he is in 2K25, he's not this version of Haku. And the only other version of Haku I can think of is in the WWF Raw for the Xbox. So very cool he made it in here. We have Heath Slater, who my brain tells me 3-man band. This might still be a bit too early for 3-man band, but he was definitely doing the 1-man band and may have even been with Rhino at this point. I don't know if Rhino's actually in this game or not. More NXT representation with Hideo Itami, also known as Kenta in New Japan, and Noah. We got a couple versions of Jake Roberts because of the 2K Showcase, alongside representation, more Hart Foundation representation with Jim the Anvil Neidhart making his debut here in 2K16. Kalisto making his debut here. Again, massive NXT representation in this game. I think NXT was, this was like, maybe not peak Black and Gold, but extremely close to it. So the fact that we were able to get a lot of really great Black and Gold representation in here with people like Finn Balor, Kalisto, and even more to come. Great stuff from NXT at this time. Kama Mustafa, of course, we know him as the Godfather or the Good Father, but before all of that, he was Kama Mustafa in the Nation of Domination. I absolutely love Ken Shamrock, right? I know there's a little bit of politics behind the scenes. He may not have been as attentive to his career as maybe he should have, but my God, he was just, every time he was on the screen, I was like magnetized. And even though he had like so little charisma on the microphone, he's got more than I do, but like, just his aura in the ring, he was such a badass, and it just felt like whoever he was in the ring with, he was just going to kill. Or NXT representation with the first appearance of Kevin Owens. Tailing off with the third face of Foley, we have Mankind returning here. He must be in the 2K Showcase as well. Mikey Whipwreck making his debut here. He is a part of the 2K Showcase because there is a match between Austin and Mikey in the ECW venue. This is dubious, but Mr. McMahon 98 is technically a debuting character, but McMahon has appeared in the game previously. This specific version of McMahon is new because of the 2K Showcase. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat appears here as most likely as part of the 2K Showcase. I feel like he's part of that If he's not, he's part of the Hall of Fame showcase for sure. Rikishi making his return. I would have to imagine that's part of the 2K showcase, but of course, always great to have Rikishi in the games, and I really enjoyed playing as Rikishi in said WWE games. Hands down, one of the best mid-carders that WWE has ever had. Savio Vega had many a match against the ringmaster Steve Austin. Definitely not one to pass up being in this video game. Shane McMahon, Tobias, he's been in many WWE games prior, he just wasn't in 2K15, but he makes it into 2K16 as part of the 2K showcase. The other half of the NXT's Vaudevillains, Simon Gotch, of course, very outspoken on social media, hard to argue with his points. As far as we're aware, he isn't overly political online, he just likes to shit on wrestlers who've wronged him. And honestly, I respect that. Sin Cara is listed here, but I'm pretty sure Sin Cara was in 2K15. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's this version of Sin Cara, because this is Hunico. This is very much Sin Cara with the arm tattoo. This is not Mystical. This is different Sin Cara now. Completing the NXT takeover here with Tyler Breeze. He is the final NXT entrant on our list here, and he was a big part of NXT. You know, he kind of gets overlooking because, you know, now he does up, down, down, and people forget that he was a really big part of NXT, and maybe he wouldn't have made it on the main roster. I guess that's one of the kind of what ifs we'll never really know, but regardless, he is Prince Pretty. Regardless, he is Prince Pretty, and don't you forget it. We have the return of Big Van Vader. Absolutely love Vader, so always good to have him in the game. We also have DX representation with X-Pac. I have to imagine again that I don't remember X-Pac ever facing Steve Austin, but again, could very well be part of the 2K showcase. And the final entrant into the base roster, none other than Woo Long Island Ice Z Zack Ryder. But that's not all, because we do have also the divas as well, and there are many a new diva in this game. Again, going down the list alphabetically, we have Alicia Fox, who might even still work at the WWE now. She had easily the longest tenured woman at that time, which was insane to think about. Or rather, by the time she was let go, she was the longest tenured wrestler, which is, man, of all the people. We have Eva Marie, which is an interesting piece of history. Not really much to say about Eva Marie, but definitely not a wrestler. Bless her heart, she tried. She's almost like that generation's Maxine Dupree, but Maxine has the urge to wrestle, whereas Eva Marie just wanted to basically be a model. I don't see Michelle McCool on the list here, but we do have Layla as a returning character, so you may not be able to create your Lay Cool times, but Layla, of course, an amazing talent of her own right. Technically a new character, Stephanie McMahon. Again, she's been in the game previously, but technically for this game, yeah, she is a new character. She wasn't in the previous game. But that's not all. We have downloadable content, so almost everyone on this list is a brand new superstar this year. So we are just going to go down the list. We have Alundra Blaze. We have Arn Anderson, one of the 4 horsemen, sorry. That's muscle memory taking over there and saying horsewoman. We have 2 versions of the pre-order bonus for this year, and he is, of course, the Terminator. Specifically, not Arnie, even though Arnie was on an episode of SmackDown, and he has history in WWE. Specifically, the Terminator is the pre-order bonus. So we have Arnie T1 and Arnie T2, which, don't get me wrong, is amazing. Arnie played a part in Triple H's entrance that year at WrestleMania as well. He had a pre-recorded video where he was the Terminator, so it kind of makes sense that Arnie is here as a pre-order bonus. We have the big boss man. As much as I love the big boss man, they always use this like it's county jail type big boss man with the blue shirt and the yellow highlights and stuff. And I like it, but it's before my time. I really love the 90s Attitude Era big boss man with the big stick and the all black, basically looking like a Shield member, the original Shield member, big boss man. I'm a big fan of that one, so I would have preferred to have that one in there, but I understand that, you know, they like to play with the golden era a little bit. More NXT representation in the DLC as well. We have Blake, and later on we are going to see the other half of this tag team. I can't remember the name of them. I think it literally is just Blake and Murphy, but this is Blake as part of that was the worst setup ever, I'm sorry. We also have Harlem Heat, Booker T, 1996. I can't remember why they're in there. They're in the. There must have been a WCW DLC pack or something. But yes, Booker T 1996. A lot of tag team representation in the DLC actually, because this is one half of the Bushwhackers, Butch We also have, oh my god, that's a blast from the past, Diego. Oh wow, Dustin Rhodes as well. You would think he'd be part of the 2K showcase actually. Of course, Dusty Rhodes making it into the game, as well as Earthquake, Fernando filling out the other half of that tag team. I can't remember their name though. No, it's a blank on me there. The two, it's Epico and Primo, I can tell you that much, and they were the kind of like Spanish conquistador, bull rider characters, and they had El Torito with them as well. El Torito doesn't make it into the game, sadly. There's another version of Jake Roberts. There is a version of Kevin Nash. Again, it must have been a DLC, a WCW DLC, because that's pinpointed by Larry Zbyszko. To be fair to Larry, though, he probably did go in the Hall of Fame that year. We also have Lita returning alongside the other Bushwhacker Luke. Mr. Perfect making it into the game. He's a regular in the 2K games now. We also have Murphy, Randy Savage 91, Ric Flair 91, Steamboat 91, and another version of Rikishi. And another version of The Rock. So they give you a lot of choices here. Piper, interestingly, here as DLC, even though he's been in the base roster now in the main game, like in the new game, for quite a while now. More NXT representation with Samoa Joe. Great choice to have him as DLC, if I'm being honest. I've got a funny feeling he may have joined during the year, and that might be why he's DLC. But regardless, very nice to have him kind of in the game early as DLC, even though his base game debut is probably 2K17. Another version, I don't even think there is another version of Scott Hall in this game, but we have Scott Hall, more NWO representation, alongside the other half of Harlem Heat, Stevie Ray. Tatsumi Fujinami is a little bit lost on me. Never really seen any of his matches, but I think he's in the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a reason for him being there. Chris Stratus returns this year alongside Typhoon, and I believe that is every new character in 2K16. I think we cap off the video with Armageddon Hell in a Cell match. I turned the game up to 4K, so I have absolutely no doubt that this is probably destroying my PC as we talk. So I've gone for a very random 6 selection of people here. Some of them I talked about in part of the roster, the vast majority of them talked about in the roster list. But there is also the inclusion here of Chris Jericho, who did make his return. That I don't remember him being in 2K15, but he wasn't on the new list, so he must have been in 2K15. But he did return around about this time anyway, probably the year prior. I did just pick a random arena. In fact, I didn't even pick the arena, I just randomly chose one. So the WWE logo there being the scratch logo, and it tells me that it's a 90s arena. It's a shame that they aren't able to use the WWF logo in these games, because it would really add a level of realism to these Attitude Era arenas. Oh, we wouldn't want the pandas getting upset now, would we? So this this Armageddon Hell in a Cell is first fall to a finish. So the first person to get a pinfall, or 3 count or submission, will win the match. Of course, that is going to be extremely complicated when you've got 6 people. I didn't even name the people, did I? I said Chris Jericho, but you've got Rikishi in there, you've got Harlem Heat, Booker T, Bret the Hitman Hart, Samoa Joe, and Hideo Itami all in there. Booker T, though, almost getting the win. Bret able to kick out just in time. Again, I don't think we're going to know. I can't hear the ref counts, so unfortunately in this game there's a bit of a bug where the commentary and the referee counts are on the same setting. So to turn down the because it's all listed as voice, so to turn down the commentators to make the video better for you guys, you have to turn down the referee sounds as well. So that's really unfortunate. Obviously not really a problem in the WWE games now, but still very frustrating nonetheless. Hideo Itami with another pinfall on Samoa Joe. No one really seems to mind these pinfalls. Oh, Jericho with a physics-busting moonsault. These pinfalls are not even being broken up by any of these characters, so maybe they just don't mind. In fact, that's the end of the match right there, I think. Bret Hart got the pin on Rikishi. I didn't even see what ended the match, but the characters didn't even bother breaking up the pinfalls, so no wonder that one ended so early. I can't even get my words out now. I think time for bed, you know. I think I'm done for today. That's going to be us for today. I hope you enjoyed our look back at WWE 2K16. It's actually not even that far ago. It was, what, 9 odd years ago? Did you get a chance to play the game? Were you as enthralled with the 2K showcase as I was? Because I personally, I grew up watching the Attitude Era, so of course the idea that we would have the full Austin career playable in the game And it's a relatively fun, good game to play as well. Like, the gameplay is massively sped up, and I'm losing track of what I'm saying. Essentially, 2K Showcase was awesome, the game was actually really solid, and basically put in the comments down below if you had a chance to play it, and if you enjoyed the 2K Showcase as much as I did. With that being said, if you did enjoy the video, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps feed the algorithm, as I keep saying. We want to be able to push the channel out to as many people as possible, so that well, can't believe I'm even talking about this, but into next year, we're going to be doing some crazy videos that I've already got planned, and you ain't seen nothing yet. That is us for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye for now.